Hey, alchemists, it's me, Deanna Joseph, and my lesson today, up close and personal, is the mysterious will of the divine. And so, you know how our theme for this year is alchemy. In fact, I just think that should be our theme forever and ever, right? Is alchemy. But we are here to be creators. But what does that even mean to be a creator? I used to think, although I didn't call myself a creator, I used to think that my spiritual path was about getting stuff. I learned about the law of attraction, and so I'd pray for my stuff and talk about activating the law of attraction to get my stuff. And so that just about never worked out. Eventually, I kind of grew into this idea of, well, maybe it's about getting enlightened. And I thought, yeah, I'd seen the movie The Sixth Sense. I wanted to communicate with dead people. I wanted to be so psychic that I would see the future of everything I would choose. And if it didn't turn out right, then I didn't have to choose that, right? I wanted all the guarantees and the promises of a successful, happy life. So I still have a lot of questions. I've kind of moved beyond that also, but I still have a lot of questions. And and I think that it's these questions that just kind of make our life fun. But like, really, how does God show up in our life? Like that can be surprising. What about the non-physical beings that are here to support us, right? Are they light messengers, angels, guides? How about this one? This is one I do ask a lot. Am I being truly guided, or is it my imagination and I'm just getting the guidance I want? Why are only some of my prayers answered, but not all of them? So, welcome to planet Earth, where this is the game of life to discover what it means to be a creator and discover what the mysterious will of the divine really is and how it shows up in our life. So, co creator, co creation, it's a term that's been around a while now, and it does imply that we're creating with the unseen forces, right? We're creating with God, the universe, source, whatever you want to call it. And so co creation is a reality, but it may not be the same reality that our soul is living in. Okay, so our soul maybe has a different idea for how life should be. So on our end, it might be that when we are co creating, we might think we're doing pretty good, but then like something happens, something comes up. Like we have the difficult experiences anyway, right? Or terrible things happen. And so that's what I want to talk about is co-creation, but as a spiritual practice to unwrap the mysterious will of the divine in our lives. And so, the third unity principle is we create our experiences through our way of thinking and acting. But sometimes when we are creating these experiences, we might think, well, I was doing my affirmations and I've been praying and I have a gratitude practice and I'm of service and I show up with love and compassion. But then these bad things happened. I got sick anyway. I lost my job, or my partnership with somebody, fell apart. So being a co-creator does not mean that we're controlling everything in our life. Okay, being a co-creator, we are creating our experience of whatever is going on in our life. But we're not necessarily creating what's going on in our life, right? We know that there's so many things that happen in our environment. There's so many conditions in life. And maybe we have a small hand in some of them, but we cannot control most everything. We cannot control most everything. So here's one of the mysterious aspects of the divine. And this was a really hard one for me to accept at first. And it is that the nature of the universe is impersonal. And see, I didn't want the nature of the universe to be impersonal. I wanted God to specifically know all about me and love me and recognize my specialness and keep sending me all these signs about how special I was, right? But see, if the nature of the universe is impersonal, this is kind of where we get that saying, of the sun shines on the just and the unjust, and it rains on both the good person and the evil person. We are creating our experience through our way of thinking and acting, so that when it rains, we have options on how we're going to show up. Okay? So what about the bad things? I know I've asked myself this before, I'm trying to co-create a happy life and I'm a good person, but why did this bad thing happen? Right? We ask why, or, we're kind of like, well, it's not fair, right? Why does everything seem to work out so great for so-and-so who's really not very nice, and yet me, who's a very nice person, this thing didn't work out for. But this is really like the whole story of Job, right? In the book of Job in the Bible, right? It wasn't fair, right? He was telling his friends that it's just not fair. I am a good, righteous person. So we do have to wrap our minds around this idea that there is a mysterious will of the divine that maybe we're not aware of. Okay, so the divine is maybe seeking a different kind of experience. Now, we tend to want an experience that will please our personality, right? Our personality wants comfort, and our personality wants the guarantees, right? Our personality wants to know we're traveling on a path where nothing will ever go wrong. But the soul simply wants to experience itself through us and out into our lives. All right? Even the definition of love from Ernest Holmes is I'm paraphrasing, but that love is the urge to create through its creations, right? And so source energy, it has the urge to continue creating through us. Of course, we were created, on this planet, but it wants to continue creating through us through our way of thinking and acting. When we act on divine ideas, right? When we get inspired and do something about that inspiration, right? Listening and acting in faith. And so this makes me think of the story of Helen Keller. Of course, you all know about Helen Keller. She was born a perfectly healthy baby, but got very sick with something around a year and a half old. And she lost her sight and her hearing. And her parents, of course, were devastated. And her parents asked that question that we always ask. Why did this have to happen to me? Why did this happen to us? We don't deserve this. This is not fair. And no, it wasn't fair. Her parents know they did not deserve that. Just like you did not deserve the heartbreak that you've experienced. You do not deserve the illnesses that you've experienced, right? You do not deserve the betrayals that you have gone through. Okay? None of us deserve those things. Helen did not deserve to be struck deaf and blind. But see, Helen eventually found her mission, which was to teach the blind to see and the deaf to hear. That was her mission. Now, in New Thought and New Age communities and spiritual communities, we usually assume, there is this assumption, okay, I won't say we all do it, but I used to do this all the time. Make the assumption that if I'm experiencing pain right now, whether it's physical or emotional, that it means that there was something negative that happened in my past. And it's all the fault of that negative thing. Okay? Now, Helen Keller was a mystic. And so what made her different was that even though all these really unfair things happened to her that she totally did not deserve, even though those things happened, she still saw her life as a sacred assignment. And this is our spiritual practice of being a creator, to see our life as a sacred assignment, even though things may be hard. All right? Even though things may be hard. So God is impersonal, right? God is impersonal. God, the universe, whatever you want to call it, it shows up for every single experience, but it's not judging any of those experiences. Okay, it's just showing up. It's there for every experience. Now, here's where it becomes personal. It's our relationship with this energy, right? It's our relationship with God. It's how we show up to our life, right? It is how we show up to the indwelling divinity. And so this was something that was very special about Helen Keller. She had a deeply intimate and connected relationship to the indwelling spirit. And there's all kinds of things she's written about, with her experiences with God. You can just Google them, right? But it's an amazing, amazing deep relationship that she even says that she's glad she is the way she is because she loves that relationship the way it is. Okay, so how do we create that deep, intimate relationship? Well, we create a deep, intimate relationship with the divine within us the same way we would create any intimate relationship. We spend time and we communicate, all right? So that can look like spending more time in a prayer practice, a meditation practice, and not just once a week or not just when you need something. That's how I used to pray. Something came up and I needed help, so then I would pray. But I wasn't praying all the time, right? I wasn't giving thanks all the time. Okay, so we show up and we do this all the time. We pray all the time, we meditate, get into conversations. That's kind of my favorite way to show up. I get into conversations. If I'm alone and I'm driving somewhere, I'm constantly talking to my soul while I'm driving around. Okay, so now here's a challenge. Okay, we're praying, we're meditating, maybe we're asking questions, doing our affirmations, but it can still feel like we're not getting the information we're looking for. We're not getting guidance, right? We're not getting the answer to our prayer. So back in the, say the late 90s, early 2000s, I was taking all kinds of these new agey classes. I was having a lot of fun. But they were the kind of classes that were on psychic development and, right, how to shoot fire from your fingertips kind of stuff. And I remember, there were other people in my class and they were really very clairvoyant, and they were describing these deeply rich, clairvoyant experiences they were having. Me, I felt like I was getting nothing. And so I'm home one day and I'm practicing this, right? And because our teacher's like, yeah, you just practice it and you're going to get so psychic. You're just all so psychic. Well, I was practicing and nothing was happening. And I remember sitting and saying out loud to my guides, my angels, whoever was listening, what a fat lot of good you all are, right? I said that because I was very entitled. I figured that since I paid good money for this class and I had this teacher who said that we would all be able to do it, I felt entitled to having these incredibly vibrant visions. Okay, so I don't know if you've ever heard of a cosmic 2x4, but I had one of those cosmic 2x4 moments. I just said that out loud, a fat lot of good you all are, and I literally felt getting whacked on the side of the head. There was no pain, but there was that, that motion, and it actually kind of knocked me sideways, and I thought that I would have fallen over, but I was sitting right next to a table. And at that moment, you don't want to listen. Now, I would love to say that moment changed me and I became a really good listener, but it's not true. I didn't become a good listener right away. I made tiny incremental improvements over these many years. Okay. Now, so this is the thing with prayer. Prayer is instantaneous. It's the minute. We don't even have to actually pray it. It's already known. It's known to the universe. It's known to God. It's known to the angels. So when it feels like we're not getting an answer, it could be that we're waiting. We are waiting. In fact, right now, this moment, I feel like I'm waiting on something that I asked about this morning. I'm waiting. But most of the time, it's going to be if we're not receiving an answer to our prayer, it's going to be because, number one, we did get an answer, but it's not the answer we wanted. Okay, for example, if you asked your guides at the beginning of this year, what could I do to be more healthy? And you heard, exercise. Okay, did you go do that? Right? I know I went for years. I was like, what can I do to be more healthy? Exercise. No, something easier. What can I do to be more healthy? Give up sugar and flour. No, not going to do it. Not going to do it. Okay? So sometimes, we're getting an answer, but it's not the answer we want. Okay? Sometimes we pray about something we know we want to do, and we're asking if it's the right thing to do, and we don't feel like we get an answer. But really what we're getting is, or what we're not getting that we want, is a guarantee. All right? I just feel like I should quit my job. Should I quit my job? If I quit my job, will I be successful in my home business? And you don't get a yes. So it's like, oh, I guess I'm just not meant to do that. But see, because of the impersonal nature of the universe, the success of that home business, it doesn't matter. Either way, you're getting an experience, okay? So we're not going to get the guarantees. Or say that we pray for guidance on something and we get direction, but it doesn't make any sense to do that. In fact, 7 years ago, I got direction on this next thing to do when I was asking for clarity, and I was just saying, I feel stuck. I don't know what the next thing to do is. And I was given clarity on the next thing to do, but it didn't make any sense to me. But because I followed that step, it led to the next thing, and it led to the next thing. And I can see now, 7 years later, that first step was a very big, impactful step. But at the time, it did not make any sense. I just am glad I did act on it. Okay, so we didn't get the answer we wanted. We didn't get the guarantee, or the direction we're given doesn't make sense. All right, so that's often why we feel we didn't get an answer to our prayer. But see, here's the thing. Our relationship with the divine, it's not about the promise of success and an easy, happy life and never, ever, ever making any mistakes. We are deepening our connection with our inner divinity so we will listen and act in faith. Right? That's the whole goal of this. Learning to listen and act with faith. Because ultimately, it's not about the choices that we make, because the universe is impersonal and it grows and learns about itself through any choice that we make, even if we are struggling with that choice. But see, here's the thing. If we make a choice out of fear, if we make a choice that just serves the personality, our heart and our brain are not in coherence, and life will seem to unfold more slowly. It'll feel like we're up to our neck in mud, and it is so hard to move forward. We're postponing our good, is what we're doing. Now, if we've made a choice and it doesn't seem to be the right choice, and we're slogging forward and everything's taking forever, because of the impersonal nature of the universe, God's showing up for those choices, not judging those choices. Okay, just like if you decided that you were going to exercise 5 days a week, and you got up one day and you're like, I'm too tired, I'm just not going to go. God's not going to judge you for that. God's just showing up for the experience. Okay, so God's showing up for every experience, every choice. Okay, of course, we make it harder on ourselves, not God. God's just showing up all the time for us. Now, when we make a choice out of faith, our heart and our brain are in coherence. Things unfold differently for us. Things unfold with greater ease, and we will hear that guidance with more clarity. Okay? I had a wonderful experience last week. I went to Yucca Valley with my best friend, Wendy, and I woke up Wednesday morning and she had sent me a text in the middle of the night of this really cute unicorn tattoo. And so I'm like, well, that's kind of funny. So she gets up, because I was up really, really early, but then she gets up and she was like, did you see that tattoo? And I was like, yeah, that's really cute. And she was like, I was thinking it'd be really fun to go get tattoos today. And all of a sudden, I just had this feeling. It's like, wow, that would be fun. So that decision, it felt good. So we took it to the next step, right? She looks, in the area to see local artists, tattoo artists. And so we find this place called Unfurled in Yucca Valley, and she's great. And like we go down there, and even the young lady who's working there, Michaela, she looks like a unicorn who's turned into a young woman, right? She has this like pearlescent aura about her, okay? And she was just so adorable and so sweet. And so we loved the vibe of that place. And so Wendy's drawing out our tattoos, and I happen to look on the back wall and I see these albums hanging up. And one of them is the Xanadu album, right? It's a 1980 movie with Olivia Newton-John and Gene Kelly. Great music, right? With Olivia Newton-John and Electric Light Orchestra, ELO. And so Wendy and I, then we start playing music from Xanadu while we're getting our tattoos. And so, but it was just so much, it was a great afternoon. And we went home or went back to our Airbnb, and we were like, let's watch the movie Xanadu. And so we watched the movie Xanadu, and it was fun, and we had a lot to talk about with that movie. Well, the next morning, it even led to like a deeper philosophical communication, our conversation, a deeply philosophical conversation about what it means to be an artist and follow your muse, right? An artist, and I don't mean just an artist who puts pen to paper, of course. I mean, and all of us are artists, right? We're the artists of our lives. And so, but see, here's the thing that happened. It started with Wendy getting inspired to look at these tattoos. And then every new thing, we had a good feeling, and so we followed the vibe. And then the next thing led to a good feeling, and we followed the vibe. All right? And we had an unexpected miniature vacation, and everything fell into place wonderfully. Now, this is what happens when we listen and act. Okay, divine direction is not always going to be huge, world-changing, epiphany, mind-blowing stuff. We're living out a life every day where this guidance is just the simple, humble guidance leading us to that next nice thing that's going to happen in our day. Okay, so imagine this. You are created in the image and likeness of your creator. You are, for sure. You are an emanation of source, okay, here to create in your own life as God creates in the universal. Now, this means we are each of us here to create experiences. Each of us are creators. You are a creator. But we have many options for how we show up to this game of life, right? We create in many ways. Now, some of the ways that we are creating in our day may not feel so good, and we may be struggling, okay? We fall in love with our own life when we follow the vibe, when we listen and act when God speaks. So here is our call to action for this week. I'm going to say our affirmation, okay? Then we'll say it again together. I am here to fall in love with my life. I am here to fall in love with my life. Now, I know it can sound kind of trite, but every day is a new day. Every day we are standing at the beginning of a journey that we've never taken before. We really are, okay? Every day is a new opportunity to decide that we want to show up a little bolder than we did the day before, a little brighter, a little more compassionate, a little more merciful, a little more loving, right, than we did the day before, okay? And so here is my invitation for this week. And I would love, if you do this, I would love to hear from you. Please comment like what you did, okay? But first of all, give yourself an opportunity to follow the vibe. Do something different. Take 30 minutes out of your day, just one day this week. Take 30 minutes and get curious and do something different. Okay, if you go out to your car every day and sit in your car on your lunch break, maybe go for a walk instead. Or sit sit someplace outside and sketch a drawing, or go to a bookstore, go to a used bookstore, go down a rabbit hole there, right? But just find anything, find something different. Go walk a labyrinth, okay? But also I'm inviting you to try this week. It's to take 20 minutes connecting with your inner being. And I'm going to say, especially if this affirmation felt really weird to you, right? That I am here to fall in love with my life. If you kind of scoffed at that, if it kind of felt uncomfortable, I really do invite you, take 20 minutes and connect with your inner being. Have a conversation, okay? And if you are going through a really difficult time right now, it's okay. It's okay to just go to your inner being and say, I need some help just to be able to start where I am. I'm not doing so good, and I'm angry, and I'm resentful, and I'm having trouble like forgetting or forgiving things, forgiving and forgetting. I'm having trouble doing this. So I'm asking for the grace to awaken within me that peace that I know it's in there somewhere. But please just open that door for me. Come on, have my back here, universe. Like, I'm asking for the grace to accept where I am right now, even though I'm really unhappy where I am right now. Help me to appreciate all of the things that I have in my life right now. Help me to appreciate all the ways that I have shown up for myself, and help me to appreciate the things that I have done that I am proud of, and give me the grace to not let my pain and my disappointments keep me from showing up with love and compassion for my fellow humans. Okay? Please help me. Help me to not let my pain and disappointments keep me from showing up with some compassion for myself and all the struggles that I have gone through. Spirit, God, soul, my divinely wise self, help me to get curious right now. Help me to get curious. Okay, and it can just be that simple. If you're having an emotional breakdown, have the emotional breakdown, but have it with source. Okay, have it with your inner being. Have it in a conversation with the divine in you, okay? Alan Cohen, an author, he said, your old idea of how far you may progress is being updated. We are seeing that there is an evolution, right? We are seeing there's an evolution, a soul's evolution happening on this planet right now. We now know that we are not here to just pray for stuff. We're not here to pray that the guy we don't vote for just dies and the guy that we do vote for gets office, right? Just because we prayed for it. We're not here to just pray for ourselves to get all the stuff we wanted. In fact, think about the last few times you've prayed, right? Are they serving you, or are they actually, how many people in your life are those prayers serving, right? This is that evolution. Our prayers are now in service to the planet, right? And we don't need to worry about being enlightened. On a soul level, you are enlightened, right? On a soul level, your soul knows all this stuff going on. It's aware of its connection to the all, right? On a soul level, like, we're enlightened. So that's not even something that we have to worry about. We are here to discover that deep connection with Source within us so that life unfolds differently through us, for us, as us. Because this is how we are creating heaven on earth. So until next time, remember, you are divinely designed to be doing all this. You are a one-time, one-of-a-kind cosmic event. In everything you do, you are blessed. And so it is. So it is. We'll see you next time.